They play some good football up there. I've been following that in the Midwest for a long time, and the head coach at Chaminade, Antoine Torrey, joins us right now. We've also got our Pokes Report director of recruiting, Marshall Levenson, on with us as well. Coach, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be here, Robert. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you for your time, and I hope. I know we got a winter storm coming this weekend that they say is going to be a bear, and I know you guys every once in a while get a little snow in St. Louis. What's your weather like today?
Yeah, it's really brutally cold today. We get a little bit of everything here in the Midwest, but right now we're dealing with snow that's kind of hanging around all week because of the cold, and we're just getting back into school because we were out a couple of days because of snow. So we're just glad to be back in the building with the boys. And
Yeah, and that's good. And like I said, Marshall's with us, and Marshall, I'll let you get a couple of questions in after I jump in here. But let's just start, Coach, with give us a little background on Cameron. I know he had some other opportunities, does a lot for you and your program, but just kind of give us a background on him and the recruiting he's been experiencing.
well, first and foremost, I'll say, the Chaminade College Preparatory School, as you mentioned, is a Catholic school here, all boys school here in St. Louis, and it's a very selective institution. It's very difficult to get in, so we don't cut corners there. So Cameron checks all the boxes for our admissions team. 3 years ago, he's a great student. We're a high academic blue ribbon school here. Offer more AP courses than any school in the Midwest. And Cameron is hanging well in the classroom here as well as on the field. He's a long 6'3" corner with great hips and feet. Really smart dude on the field, and he's a leader. So he played, like you mentioned, a little bit of quarterback this past year, but obviously defensive back has been his pedigree, and he's really worked hard to get to where he is today. We're really proud of him. A long, strong, athletic kid with a good student and a good attitude.
One of the things that's easy to notice on tape, and when I do an analysis, I'll look at least two game tapes, and then I'll look at the highlight tape. That's what the kids and their coaches want us to see. But you got to
Sure.
see what the young man does on the plays where maybe he's not at his best, which for Cameron's
Exactly.
not many. But one of the things I noticed, and Coach, you can play off this. I noticed a lot of times his ability to read a play and where the ball's going to go was kind of uncanny. And I got to think playing that quarterback and kind of on the defensive side, thinking like a quarterback, that's really helped him with his defense.
Well, I've had a lot of communications with Coach Duffy, the DB coach there about Cameron, and that's one of the things that I spoke highly about, and he recognized as well, is his presence on the field. He's a student of the game. He reads well and reacts well, and I'm sure that's what any defensive back coach wants, is a kid that can read and break on the ball. But we threw him at quarterback for the first time. We graduated a four-star quarterback, Brady Cook, to pursue it, and Cameron filled his shoes in a shortened season with COVID, and he jumped right in, was very athletic, caught on to our offense really well, adjusted to our RPO packages, and really took charge of our team. In a really tough year here, we still won our conference again in our district, I should say. And he is a really smart kid on the field and reacts really well.
The other thing I really, really liked, he's a physical player, but I don't, I didn't see, I don't think I saw any PI penalties, but the one thing he does is when he is supposed to be up and jam or at least get his hands on a receiver and try and redirect, he's really good with his hands as far as you know, basically messing the receiver up.
Yeah, that's something he's really good at. We threw him at corner as a freshman right away. We had senior guys behind him at safety, and we felt confident. We play a really tough schedule here that Cameron can bang and press and push on, some of the best receivers in the area, and we'll get him some help later. But I mean, he really shined. We play a lot of man under with two safeties, very similar to what Coach Gundy does there with the defense. And Cameron, long arms and strong, leans well on guys, knows when to get off of them, and reacts to the ball well. And then his speed to be able to recover anytime he need to, but also the size to be able to tackle well out in the flat area by himself. It's really an attribute that I know he'll be able to bring, to Oklahoma State, but also mature enough where as he grow and develop, as he did for us, we feel confident putting him at safety, as well. We know he can read and react and break on the ball and big enough to fill the alley. So So he brings a lot of different, attributes that I think can really contribute to your program there, and I'm really excited to watch him grow and do those things for you there.
Coach Marshall Levenson is with us as well. And Marshall, you got a question for Coach Torrey?
Yes, sir. First, thank you for coming on with us. But one thing Robert kind of touched on his physicality, but you see it on offense when he's running with the ball. He's not really afraid to lean into some contact and knock someone over with his shoulder and kind of rip out of some tackles. But you see it on the defense as well, whether it's making a tackle or, like you said, redirecting someone. But has he always been like that? Is that just a natural thing for him, or is that something that y'all kind of taught him to do to kind of use his size to his advantage?
Yeah, I can't take credit for that, Marshall. I'll tell you, Cam comes from humble beginnings, really had to work hard to get to where he is today, and so he's very physical, gritty kid, out in the flat area. So he's not afraid to bang with anybody at any level, any grade level. And so that's really helped us. But as you mentioned, offensively, I mean, he opened up in space and really showed us some extra things that we didn't see because we didn't use him as a quarterback, in the previous 2 years, that we really loved about him. And it really showed his growth, how he's so confident and physical. Being a really big corner at 6'3", 200 pounds, but still has the hips and the feet to be able to turn and run, and break, which really brings a lot to the table. So we're really proud and excited, not only to have him for one more year, but to, as I mentioned, watch him move on and do great things at the next level.
You mentioned the one more year. You're going to have him for another year. Hopefully, it's going to be a full season.
Right.
What's going to be his role? What's going to be his role next year? Is he still going to be a quarterback? You also mentioned some possible. You feel good with him at safety. What's your plans for him for his last year of high school ball?
We threw him at quarterback, as I mentioned, because the season was so short. We didn't have enough time for our youngsters to develop. After we graduated our senior there in Cam Shine, his leadership just took the part right away. But we want to be able to do several things with him this year. We know we get one full season with him, we hope. And so moving him around a lot more, we think will benefit our offense, allowing other quarterbacks to get a chance to shine a little bit. He's not a true pocket passer. He's an athlete with the ball in his hand, obviously. So we're going to try to get him out in space a little bit, some slot on the offensive side instead of quarterback, but still be able to throw him back there for a few wildcats or some RPO action where he can keep the ball and go. But obviously secondary, as you mentioned, we're going to take a good look at him at safety. We think that's going to show some new things that he can do out in space. We've seen it his freshman year. We just didn't need him there. So now we have the luxury, as he's a lot older, having that senior back there to kind of lead the defense, we think can really bring some advantages for our secondary. So we're going to play with that early on in the summer in 7-on-7 and see how he grows there. But we know he can do it, and so using him everywhere that we can possibly use him. So removing him from that quarterback spot every snap will allow us to do those great things for him. So.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see him in the slot doing some of that, and like you said, with his size at safety, and like Marshall said, I saw the same thing at quarterback. I call them pinball runs. When you see a guy that goes down the field and all he's doing, it's like a pinball machine. He's bouncing off the bumpers, and nobody gets him down. He just keeps on, moving on down the field. And he had several runs that I saw like that, both in the highlight and in the games I watched. We just got another minute or two here with Coach Torrey, Antoine Torrey from Chaminade College Prep. And Coach, you talked about the school. I'm a big fan. Like I said, I've been covering recruiting since about 1986, and so I over the Midwest. I worked for Super Prep and Alan Wallace. I've had my own publications, and I love having Marshall with me because he's better looking than I am, but he's like a mini me. He loves high school football, loves recruiting and dealing with this. I wanted to ask you, because we just got off the phone with Coach Hennessy at Pawhuska, Class A school in Oklahoma. By the way, they've got like $2 million in facilities, new turf field,
Wow.
weight room, and all that, because Pawhuska is where Reed Drummond, the pioneer woman on the Food Network, is from, and her son was quarterback. Okay. So they've had a pretty good benefactor. And I know Chaminade, does well too. It's an outstanding school. But just with this last question, I wanted you to kind of give folks in Oklahoma an idea of what the competitiveness is like. St. Louis is a great high school football town, whether you're talking about the publics or you're talking about the Catholic schools, but that's really good high school football there. I've always enjoyed it.
It is. We're in. It's called the Metro Catholic Conference that we play in. So it's all boy Catholic schools. There's 6 of them, and we're the smallest in the conference. We only have 550 boys in our building at the high school level, and so it's a tough rigor there. It's 22,000 a year for tuition and fees. We also have an international program where we house over 68 dormers from all over the country, and so Cameron is getting an excellent education at a very competitive institution, but also competing at the highest level. We're the smallest class. We're class 5, but all the other schools in our conference are class 6. So we're playing the best of the best each week, every season. But yet we also line up and play some very selective other private schools in the area that does really well. But he had options. He could have went anywhere he wanted. He's a very good athlete, obviously. But their family take education very important. That's kind of where we hang our hat in Chaminade. So he's going to be well-rounded. You'll get a kid that's kind of seen a little bit of everything from the high academics. He'll be well-prepared in the classroom. He won't be having any issues with academics, but also just a fine young man that makes good decisions. Very cool, calm, and collective kid, where his family's heavily involved. His dad coached him in middle school, and they had to work hard to get everything they ever had. So he's going to bring a lot to the table, for Stillwater, and be able to really help move the locker room and lead others as well, because he really took that leadership role as a quarterback. I think that's another good piece he'll bring to the table. But he's coming from a very selective program that's very competitive, and he doesn't take it lightly. He understands what Gundy's doing down there. He understands, what DBs are doing and getting to the next level. He understands that, Stillwater don't have to go far to find great talent, especially skill guys. But yet, they decided to come up to St. Louis and take a heavy look at him. So he doesn't take that lightly. He's got to work hard. He's already at it right now as we speak, getting prepared for when he gets that opportunity there. So well-rounded young man. Really proud of him. Excited for him.
Well, Coach, I think he's a reflection of, like you said, he's a reflection of the experience he's had. And like I've said, I've always had a healthy respect. We haven't had too many of the kids from St. Louis. We've had a couple that have come through here over the years, but I've always had my eyes on the high school football in that area. So congratulations on your program. You guys, what was it? Was it the quarterfinals or semifinals where you guys bowed out this year?
Yeah, we got back to the quarters again, which I thought was really good considering we graduated 18 seniors, and Cam really led us there. So we're really proud of the season we had, considering we only got 6 games in last year.
Yeah, well, again, appreciate your time, and congratulations to you, because these kids, they don't get these opportunities without good leadership in the coaches, and like you said, in their families. So appreciate everything you've done for Cameron and for your kids there, and good luck at continued good luck at Chaminade College Prep.
Well, thanks, Robert. We're really proud of Cam, the community. We just saw in an article that only in the last 8 years, Cam's the first in the last 8 years to go to Oklahoma State on a football, scholarship. So we're really proud of him. We know he'll represent us well there. So thank you for your time.
I know he will. And Coach, thanks for your time. So
it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
All right. Coach Antoine Torrey from Chaminade College Prep in St. Louis. And folks, that's good football. If you ever pass it through St. Louis during the high school football season, you ought to plan on stopping, catching a game somewhere, because it's fun to. I've been up there and seen some really good high school football. All right, we'll let Marshall sit for just a second. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and like I said, Marshall and I were